Hey everyone, welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. My name's Tom Springer. Welcome to the show. I am going to have a guest on tonight, but first a couple of things. Like I said, Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook right here on BB3 TV. Feel free to share that out to anyone you want to. Love to have more people on. Feel free to comment as the show goes on as well. For those that don't know, I'm also a member of Dimensional Encounters Paranormal. You can see the site right there. We actually are a paranormal investigation team that goes out and does some hunting around paranormal investigations. We have videos on there. Feel free to check them out. Click on the link, respond to them, tell us if you like them, what else you'd like to see, and we'll go ahead and start putting more stuff on. So, as I said, hi Kathy. We do have a guest tonight. If you guys haven't been paying attention to my online posts, then I'm sorry, I can't do any more than that. But tonight I do have Bill Slevin, and in fact, I'm bringing him on right now. Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Good. Hey, Rob, thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me on.
Rob's actually one of my problem children on my team. But let me go ahead and have you introduce yourself. So go ahead.
All right. My name is Bill Slevin. I am the founder and lead investigator of the Paranormal Existence Research Society based out of Coral Springs, Florida. I personally have been investigating for a little over 30 years. I'm a parapsychologist. I'm working on my PhD in parapsychology, actually. Expert in demonology. And, I do a lot of both public and residential, but I'm an expert in residential. I've done over 500 homes. And we go out there all the time, try to help everybody out.
Outstanding. So for those of you who want to go check out more, right here on the bottom of the screen, I got it all posted for you. What the team site is, his Facebook site, his Instagram site, his TikTok site, and then the actual Paranormal Research Network.com. Go out there, take a look at that too. You can most likely comment on all those. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you as well.
Sure. So, what I like to talk about with you is there's a lot of, there's a lot of differences between the public investigating and residential.
Right.
And, as much as I love to go out, during the day, I'm an IT director for a psychiatric drug and alcohol treatment facility. And they're
all popping in.
Yeah. That's my mother-in-law.
Oh.
So, during the day, it actually has helped me out a lot in working in the residential side because I am around all of the other side of stuff when it's not paranormal.
Right.
And, there's a lot of teams out there that I think don't go into it enough about what it's like working with people and families.
Right.
And, it's different than public. When we go up the public, we have a lot of fun. I'm an IT director, so I have tons of equipment. We go in an abandoned place. We have all kind of equipment. We have a good time, and you're having fun and trying to see what you could capture. But when you go into a person's home, it's a lot different because you're there to help them. Some of them are really scared. Some of them, they don't know what it is, and a lot of teams don't know how to go in and deal with the actual people once they realize maybe this isn't paranormal.
Right.
Maybe it could be. Look, I've done over 500 homes, so there are. I found everything you could imagine. We found animals in people's walls. We found so much, so much EMF in a house that it was causing the people to hallucinate. There's so many different things it can be, and you should never go in first thinking this house is haunted, no matter what the people are telling you. And once you figure it out, you need to be able to kind of communicate with them. We go in like counselors. We sit there with them 3-4 hours. I was at a residential last night. We were there for a couple hours, and we try to, counsel them and sit there and find out what's going on here. Just listen to them, because sometimes this is the first time that they're able to tell their story because we're not judging them.
Right.
And I tell them all the time, they always say, I hope you believe me. I hope you believe. We believe them no matter what, because what they're saying is never a lie. It's what they believe. Whether it's actually paranormal or not, that's a different story, but it's what they are experiencing.
Right.
Yep,
exactly.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to get out there, is because, I've been doing this since I was young and I love doing it. And then once I got into the residential side, I realized that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to get out there and help people, and it's because it's amazing to see a family that has kids and stuff and they're scared out of their minds in their own home.
Right.
And that shouldn't be.
Right. Exactly.
TV, I look, I love the shows. I watch them. They're entertaining, but they do confuse people a little bit. Everything is not a demon.
Right.
Everything is not dangerous. It's really, it's very different than the shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I had started probably a couple of years ago. I came up with the idea for the Paranormal Research Network. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to find teams around the country and around the world to kind of network together to help each other, because I get so many calls from every state you could imagine, and I feel bad when I can't help people. I talk to them on the phone. It's tough because when I had somebody not too long ago out in California, and I didn't know anybody that I knew or knew how they how they investigate and what they do to send over there, and I felt bad because I can't help them, and I'm basically referring them to people I don't know. So with the network, I wanted to group together teams that, again, not do exactly what I do, but it's the same kind of philosophy on going in and working with people and helping them out no matter what it is. And I'm trying to group them together so that I could pass off, if I get something from another state over to them, if I could get something from another country over to them, anybody that could help. And it also helps you out. If you're working on a case and you come into something that maybe you're not sure of, contact somebody else in the network and say, hey, have you guys ever worked with this? Maybe you have an idea. It never hurts to ask. We're not competing against each other.
Right. Big happy family. Big happy family.
That is the craziest thing I've noticed in this industry, is why the hell are everybody fighting against each other? We don't charge. So you're not stealing clients. We don't make any money.
I was even going to ask you that. So, because I'm sure that people want to know if they're, if they're watching and they're like, man, I'd like to get a hold of these guys, how much do they charge? So that's good that you said that. So
nothing. We don't charge anything. It's, in our opinion, it's not ethical to charge. And, again, that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's why I don't understand why they're arguing and fighting and saying, oh, they're territorial. Some people, I don't get it, but I started working on this a while ago, and I was working for a bit with Tom Yancey, our team member who passed back in November. Mm-hmm. And he was very big on this, because that's his big thing, is how he went in and counseled people. He was all about helping them no matter what it was. He was, such a great person. And, I feel bad that he's not here when I launched the site and had everything going, but it was something that he really was interested in and was helping me put it together.
Right. Well, you say stuff like that, and then, of course, we got people like Dom who says now he's going to go ahead and start charging, so. So Rob B3 did ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
Basically, what determines which groups to associate with and those to pass on?
Well, again, it's not like I'm sitting there picking like, oh, you guys are good, you guys are bad. It's more about how you investigate. So, like, there's a form on the website that you can fill out, and it asks a lot of questions. Doesn't mean you have to have the answer to everyone. We ask a lot of stuff just to get a feel of what you guys do and what you're about, and then I'll talk to you and see. It's more about that. I mean, it's not like we're just trying to make like some exclusive elite group of people that we're better than everybody. It's not like that. It's just more, I want to make sure that you didn't just learn last week from watching Zach on Ghost Adventures and you're going to go into somebody's home, with 7 people and 15 cases of equipment and scare everybody.
And just like sprinkle holy water all over the place. And...
Yeah.
I'm out. Oh, man. If I can't be like Zach, I'm out.
Exactly. No, it's knowing how to deal with them, and it's knowing what to do and what not to do. Because if it is paranormal and you don't know what you're doing, you could harm yourself, your team, and the people. You could make it worse for them.
Right.
And if you're afraid to contact somebody for help, then who knows what's going to happen in that house.
Yep.
You know, I think it's a very serious thing when you're in the house. It's a totally different thing when you're just out having fun and
Yeah.
doing, public stuff.
Yeah. In fact, that's what Bobby Thomas on here says. We pay to go places, but that's when we go do our own investigations as our team. He's also one of the guys on my team as well. So yeah,
Right.
we pay to go investigate the cool places that aren't residential that we want to go check out, not the ones we're being asked to go check out as part of this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we do that too, but this is just, it's a little different, and it's just more about trying to help these people. I would feel so bad if I referred somebody over to somebody that did a really bad job and screwed things up,
Right.
Right. Exactly. That's what he said.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's what Dom here says. Yeah, I love how Bill sees it. That's why we hit it off. He is my next co-host. Oh, see, now you're just showing off, Dom. That's not right.
Well, tell Dom, you have to fill out the form. I'll have to check and see.
And Dom, I don't know if you know this, but if he also told me backstage that if you wanted to be a co-host, he's going to charge you. So.
And just to give everybody a little idea of what I'm talking about. So I had somebody, and of course with residentials, it's confidential, so we can't tell details and mention names and stuff. But I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, paranormal Facebook groups, where I go in and try to help people, understand what they're looking at on their pictures and video, and I get a lot of contacts through there. And one guy contacted me, and he was having some issues, and he wanted my advice and wanted my help, and I've talked to him. And he's a really nice guy, but unfortunately, he's nowhere near me. So happened to be he's very close to Tom. So Tom, who is is going to be part of this network.
Yep.
He is now taking over that case. Well, I'm working with him, but he's taking over that case to be able to go to the person's house and see what's going on.
Yep.
Which is exactly what the point of this thing was. It just was a very big coincidence that he happened to be out by you.
Right. I mean, really close to me too. It was just like meant to be when that happened. So
yeah, it worked out perfect. And that's really what I'm pushing on this. The form is a little long and it has a lot of stuff. We ask for references for maybe potential, clients that you had, and it's not mandatory, only because I understand that a lot of residentials, they don't want to give out their information and have me contact them and ask them questions, and that's understandable. But it's just more to get a feel of what everybody's, how they're investigating and what they do and what their beliefs are. Yep. It's not that if they don't agree with what I say, they're wrong. It just might not fit for that network. That's all.
Right. Yep.
Exactly. Like I said, it's always just good to have, and then on the fun side of it, with the public stuff, it's a great thing. You're traveling to another state, you have a lot of teams on there. Hey, I'm coming over here. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because I've mentioned this in the past, but my team alone is split between 3 different states. There's a bulk of us here in Nebraska, and then another couple of them in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and then we have another one up in Janesville, Wisconsin. And then we have another one who we can contact through phone and through video, and she's actually up in Canada. Right. So we're kind of spread all over the place. So it's also nice too that Bill knows that if he needs to, like I said, we're located in Nebraska, so this one case is in Nebraska. But if something else pops up where he needs someone to go out in the Iowa area or up in the Wisconsin area, he probably has contacts that he can reach out to.
Exactly. And that's what it's about. I know some people are going to look at it and they're going to say, oh, we're trying to control the teams. We're trying to change it. We have nothing to do with your team. We just want to make sure that you guys are professional and caring when you're going into somebody's house, because, again, a lot of people don't know the other sides of it. Like, again, because I work at a psychiatric, treatment facility, I do have a little knowledge of it. I'm not a doctor. I don't, I'm not around the patients 24/7, but I do get a little knowledge of it, which helps me dealing with a person to maybe identify a little quicker what they're dealing with. And it's important. And I want to just throw a little shout out there to the kids at our facility, because I think they are watching me tonight. So, but yeah. So, like one of the things that people don't understand is when you encounter somebody who maybe have a mental illness, if you go in and you let them believe that they are being haunted and maybe they're not,
Right.
and then you bring out the sage and the Palo Santo and cleanse the whole place, for somebody else, it may be like a placebo effect. For somebody with a mental illness, it's not going to help them.
Right.
It's actually going to make it worse because they're now going to think they're haunted on top of whatever else is going on.
Right.
You could encounter a big problem, So it's just something I'm trying to really get out there and try to, network the whole country together with it to help people. There's so many people. You'd be amazed at how many people contact me weekly.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, you and I talked about that before, and you're like, I just can't keep up. So, yeah. But I think it's really cool, and I want to share this out. Hopefully that's okay. But it's really cool too that there are some things that you can't get to because of where you're located at, but yet you don't just drop them. You will sometimes you will put together care packages to send them to help them maybe do something for themselves, but you're going to walk them through it, through telecommunication and whatever else. But you're not just leaving them high and dry. There's actually a way to help them, even if it can't be face to face.
Exactly. I could tell you a little bit about something we had just to give you an idea. And I think I even told Dom about this one. We had a lady contact us that was in it was northwest Florida. It was probably like 5-6 hours from us. And she was a very old lady and she was a very nice lady, but she definitely was having something. I don't know if it was Alzheimer's, dementia, just by the things she's telling you about what the ghosts are doing in her house is not normal things that are going on. Right. So she had no family, no friends, nobody that we could reach out to over there. I tried reaching out to a bunch of teams in the area and nobody was willing to go out there. It was either too far or, they don't want to go somewhere. Sometimes the teams don't want to go somewhere knowing right away it's not paranormal.
Right.
Because maybe they don't know what to do,
Right.
And, the person can be a little, you don't know what they're going to do. So, we tried everything. Like you said, I made a care package and I sent her sage, Palo Santo, protection crystals, all kind of stuff, packaged it up with instructions. And I told her, when you get this, call me and I'm going to walk you through and we're going to cleanse this house.
Right.
And, I was thinking this is the greatest thing. And then when she got the package, she called me up crying because she forgot to tell me that she's disabled and she uses a walker and there's no way. And her phone is a wall phone.
Oh,
and could not walk around the house.
Right.
So, it was a big struggle. I mean, we reached out to somebody else that had to do with, because crazy enough, the health, because I asked her when I heard that, I go, how did you possibly hear about us? If you're, you have no friends, no family, you have no computer, no internet, no smartphone, you're on a wall phone. How in the world did you find us? And it was, I don't remember the name of it, but it was one of those things that with your insurance, you call to get a doctor placed to you. And the people found me and referred her to me.
Wow.
I didn't know we took insurance. It was great. So, I wound up calling there and talking to the person that she spoke to.
Yeah.
To try to get her help. That was the only thing we could really do. The only other option was, and it was suggested by a bunch of people, was to call Adult Protective Services because of her age and the concern of her hurting herself and something. But, that's where you're in a tough situation because you want to help them, but do you want to disrupt their entire life or, or is it going to be better for them anyway?
Right. Yeah.
These are the things that you got to think about.
Yep. Agreed.
So, anybody, if there's anybody out there who is interested, feel free to go and fill out the form and, talk to me and see, maybe you could become a member. I'm looking for people everywhere because the more, the better. I don't even care if you're in my area. It doesn't matter. The more people we have on it, the more people that are going to get help.
Yep. So again, all of Bill's stuff, I'm going to throw this up a few times throughout the night. Just you people. I know there's a lot on there, so that way you can write down one. I'll take it away, then wait for the second one. I just got to keep you engaged. I got to make sure you keep watching the whole show. So I wrote this really long one, so you have to write it down in pieces. That's my plan.
I also want to mention that anybody around the area in Orlando, Thursday, I will be heading out to Orlando to VillaCon. It's a big cosplay convention. It's going to be a lot of fun. I have a booth. I'm a guest there for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Saturday, we have two paranormal shows, panels. One is at 12, and it's all about public investigation. And one is at 2, and it's all about residentials. And I have all my equipment at the booth, and I'm there, anytime, come up, talk, ask questions, whatever you want to talk about, I'm there all weekend.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun convention. I mean, if you're around, it should be real interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on.
I was going to ask about that because, I know that I hadn't heard about VillaCon because I'm pretty new to this myself still. So, excuse me. Can you explain what else is kind of going on there? I mean, I know you got a booth there, but kind of expand on what else there is.
I can't explain everything. It's a very big, cosplay geared convention.
Okay.
It's a whole thing to celebrate villains, but they have some celebrity guests. They have all kind of cosplay contests, cosplay competitions. There's a lot of vendors. My wife with her company Deprana with all her candles and crystals and everything. She has a booth,
Right.
she'll be there. There's a lot of different people that are going to be there. If you're a fan of Rocky Horror, Brad Boswick, the guy who played Chad Boswick, I messed up his name. The one who played Brad on Rocky Horror, he's going to be there.
Oh, nice.
And I think they actually have him judging a Brad cosplay contest. So it'll be kind of interesting.
Great.
But there's a lot of stuff to do there. It goes late at night, and they have after parties and everything. It's going to be pretty interesting.
That's nice. Yeah. So if anyone's out in that area, I would probably say go check it out. I am not in that area, but hopefully sometime when I'm actually working down in that area, I might be able to pop in. Maybe I can line them up at the same time. So Jem does ask a question. Hi, Jem. She's asking, have you noticed an increase in people reporting hauntings in their residence during the pandemic?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because now people are paying attention to their house.
People are home too much and hearing way too many sounds.
Right.
No, it really did. It actually, it played a lot on it because we started getting calls, honestly, right away during the pandemic, because some people also with paranormal and without, more people at home. Also, it was causing a lot of mental problems with people who weren't used to being home all the time, or maybe had a problem already that was increasing what was going on. And then if there was anything paranormal in the home, it was greatly increasing it because they were home all day. They had nothing to do. They couldn't go out. They're not talking to people. They're not seeing people. And, but then on the other side of it, you had a lot of people dying. So there was a lot of people mourning, a lot of people wanting to, I'm sure wanting to know if their loved ones are still there.
Yep.
A lot of people dying sudden. So there's, in my experience, I believe a lot of these people that die so sudden, not expecting and not know what's going on, they still hang around.
Right. So some people don't know they're dead.
Right. Exactly. And in this, I mean, a lot of the people are like, hey, I got a cold. Next thing you know, they're on a ventilator and they were dead. So they don't know what was going on.
Right.
Yeah. I noticed a big increase. It was tough because we also had to, here we have the biggest increase in people contacting us, and we couldn't go out.
Right. I would say, how do you handle that? I mean, it's, that's how do you deal with that? I mean, you can only send out so many care packages.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. It was tough because at first, when there was a lot of unknown of what was going on, nobody wanted to go out. You really didn't. And where I work, honestly, during the day, I'm in a medical facility. It's tough for me to go and do that because then I'm taking a risk of possibly getting infected and bringing it to the office where not only employees, we have patients living there. Yep. So, have to be very careful. You don't want to get, bring that in there. So we did a lot of counseling on the phone,
Yeah.
even by Zoom and stuff like that. We did break it a few times and go out on emergency situations, um, and only if we believed we really needed to. If
Yeah.
the person was that scared and that terrified, we kind of feel obligated. We have to go and try to help them. You know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't want them to get worse at home. They got nowhere to go.
Right. And that's, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I was lucky that I could stay home for work. And they had us telework the whole time, so it was okay for us. But I couldn't imagine before. I used to work security for a homeless shelter, and I protected the doctor and the two nurses. They were all females, and it was a men's homeless shelter, so they had me come in to watch over the ladies. But I couldn't imagine a situation like that when the pandemic was going on, where all the homeless, the best thing they can do is they were sleeping in this huge auditorium area just on the floor. They lit out
Right.
cots and mats and everything else, and then the three ladies trying to help take care of everybody that they could there as well, because they were homeless and didn't have anywhere else to go. I couldn't imagine having to deal with that kind of situation. So
Right.
that's got to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, for me, with what I do, it was kind of tough. Like at first, I was home a lot.
Right.
I can access everything from from my house at the office, but there's a lot of hands-on things, and because our place is 24/7, it's hard for me not to be there, because if something happens and the internet goes down or something like that, there's nothing. There's no way for me to fix it from here.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was home a bit, back and forth, and then little by little I was back there all the time, and we stayed very safe there, and it was very good. We had very few problems, but
That's
it was all because everybody was listening and taking care.
was actually paying attention that it was important.
Yeah. But it was tough. It was tough trying to decide when somebody's contacting you, and all of a sudden, you're trying to tell them that you can't come out there, and if they have kids and stuff and they're scared,
Yeah.
you kind of, we got masks and the whole thing, and we would go, but it was very few.
Yeah.
And it also knocked out a lot of our public stuff too.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm sure.
So it was tough.
So I'm curious. I'm nosy and I'm curious. Going back to the home residentials, since you've been on so many, has there been a handful, one, any at all, that you went to and you were like, well, this is pretty serious. I mean, we got something here. So
well, it's I'm not a medium. I'm not a psychic medium. I'm an empath. I can sense them. I can't communicate like that with them. I've been on in like I said, over 500, but I would say 5 to 10 were considered demonic.
okay.
It is rare, 5 of them absolutely, and there was another 5 that were very questionable.
Okay.
I think I've told the one before, probably on a few different places, and the one that always sticks out the most in my head was the first one I ever did, and that was the one I think I talked about with Dom. It was my first residential case. You want to talk about learning, if you want to know this, and getting thrown right into it.
Yeah.
But the people didn't know. It was a team that, again, back 30 something years ago, it wasn't out in the open like it is today. There was no TV shows. There wasn't a lot of talk about it. And the people who contacted you didn't want to be known. The people that did it didn't want to talk about it too much because they thought we're all crazy.
Right.
So it was very confidential, and it was very hard to find people at that time in the business that were looking to bring you on a team or help out or whatever. So I used to kind of freelance here and there with people. And somebody finally brought me in on a residential because they had a guy on there, I guess, on their team that wasn't really a team. It was like, a group of people, and they needed one more person. They only had 2 that night.
Okay.
So they decided to call. They knew somebody I knew. They contacted me, and I said, yeah, I'll go. I was all excited to go see a residential. And it's actually what made me probably want to help people the most. But the thing is, when I went in, I didn't know. They didn't really brief me too much. They just told me there was a lady and she was having some issues in the house and things were moving and she was hearing noises and smells and things. And I said, okay. So we went in, and it was very different because, back then you had big giant shoulder mounted cameras and,
Right.
with cassette tapes and you know, and I'm dating myself too much now, but you know, I had nothing. They had cameras, one camera, one microphone, and we went in the house and we literally went in the front door, and the three of us ran out the door. We were all nauseous,
Oh,
and I don't know. I still don't know 100% what it was. You know, I mean, you right away got to think of things like carbon monoxide, things that because we couldn't smell anything. It just
right.
something made us nauseous. You know, so we kind of gathered ourselves, went back in, and and when we went back in, there was nothing. So you know, we were a little confused. So
Yeah.
yeah, went through the
Different
whole
when it does it to all three of you at the same time, not just one of you. So
way to go. And you know, again, you start to think logical first.
yeah,
If it was carbon monoxide, it would still be there. So I don't know why we're still not breathing it. You
right.
know, but we went through into the living room, and you know, we had the camera ready, and they had already turned the lights off, and all of a sudden, the guy next to me, I mean, we weren't there 5 minutes. He screamed and threw his giant, you know, $3,000-$4,000 camera lens first to the floor. Didn't care. We turned lights on, and what's going on? He was like clawing at his shirt, and he pulled his shirt off, and he had 3 scratch marks from his neck to his spine that were
Ooh.
like razor blades.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that is I did not know much about demonology back then. I've been studying it since then, and I never 100% knew those are the things to look for. I found out later on that when a demon attacks and he scratches, it's usually like a razor blade. It's not like something where somebody says, "Hey, I got a mark," and it looks like a fingernail. You
Right.
know, it's literally it was like 3 razor blades down his back. They were perfectly straight. They were bleeding. And then, you know, like if that happened today, like it was a team I didn't know and I went with them, I would question a lot of stuff.
Right.
You know, how famous are you looking to get? You know, what are you looking to get on the news? What are you looking at? But back then there was nothing.
Right.
You know, nobody wanted to tell anybody about that because everybody would think they were nuts. You know,
Right.
unfortunately, it wasn't my case, so I don't know the total outcome of it. I know they did reach out. They had somebody. They reached out to the church to come and help them, but they never brought me back to that case, which I was really disappointed in because you know, I was there for that.
Right.
So things like that, and like I said, when you're involved in a demonic case, um, there are things like people watch TV, and I always say, you know, TV and movies and stuff, of course, are enhanced a little bit
Mhm.
for entertainment. You
Right.
know, it's something that you have to entertain people, you have to be dramatic, you have to be whatever.
Right.
But there are things in some of those movies and shows that actually happen. It's very rare, and believe me, you have to be there to understand it and to believe it. I could tell you something, and you know, I don't even expect people to believe me. You know, I've been in a house where I actually saw a couch lift about 3 feet off the ground and fly across the room. You
Oh,
know, I tried every way to explain that in my head, and it was
she's asking a question.
yeah,
So sorry, I
well,
didn't mean to cut you off, but
yeah, yeah. All demonic cases are very rare. Um, you don't see many of them. I mean, I know many people have been doing this for almost as long as me and have never seen a demonic case,
right.
you know, or something that they can even possibly be a case. You know, there are some questionable things. You know, sometimes spirits and stuff can act a little bit like demons in their initial stage of infestation. You know, but when you're there and you see it, you'll never forget it, and you'll be able to know the difference.
Right.
You know, that house with the couch, actually, they had a priest in there doing an exorcism of not of a person, but an exorcism of the house
Oh,
when that happened. So it was something to remember.
yeah.
You know, and it is look, it is scary. I mean, I've gotten very immune to a lot of the stuff doing this long, but it's a frightening thing because it's really something, especially when it comes to demonic, it's something you really cannot control. I mean, you can know a lot, and I know a lot about it, and I know some things to help, but it's a tough situation. If you're in there and you don't know what to do at all, you
Hmm.
could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Definitely. And I was corrected. Sorry, Taryn, my bad. She said that was not a question; that was a statement. So,
Oh, yeah. And I know she wants me on her show. Yes.
yeah, she posted that. She said I never got involved with the negative cases. Want to know parts of it. I like Casper.
It's It's very hard to tell a lot of times.
Right.
It because if you know anything about demonology, there's three stages. There's infestation, oppression, and possession. And infestation, a lot of times, is a lot like a haunting. They're making sounds, they're maybe moving something, they're trying to get your attention, trying to get you to acknowledge them. Unfortunately, a lot of times it is brought on by somebody bringing it in.
Okay.
They doing a seance, they're trying for a Ouija, using a Ouija board, trying to contact somebody. A lot of times that does bring them in. Doesn't mean Ouija boards are these horrible things. I don't believe that. They're like the same as anything. Any piece of equipment I use, it's a communication device. It's
Right.
all about your intent and how you're using it.
It's a tool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is. But I always say the main thing, and I get a lot of questions about that at the conventions. And I say, well, the thing is, it's most people who are using a Ouija board most of the time, except when we're all kids, we're all playing around with it. I mean, we all done that.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of investigators use them. I personally don't. It's just my preference, but I have nothing against them.
Yeah, we don't either. No.
Yeah, but most of the people using them are because they lost somebody close to them, and they're trying to contact them, and they don't realize that it may not be them, and
Right.
because they're gullible at that time, and they're so so kind of obsessed in contacting this person. All they have to do is say one thing to trigger them, to make them believe this is them.
Right.
And they're going to do whatever they say.
Yep.
And that's what a demon does. It takes you from that stage into the oppression stage. It starts to try to oppress you, and make you just basically do whatever it's saying to break you down enough. It starts physically, mentally, break you down enough to where it can possess you. It's not a lot that it gets to that stage. Some people can fight them off,
Right.
without even knowing what they're fighting off, but it's a very dangerous thing, but it is rare.
Right.
I've met a lot of people I talk about it, and they're like, oh, that would be great to see. No, it's really not.
No, it's great to see on TV. Let's just stick with that. So I want to know. Excuse me. I want to know if I can get rid of this cough. But I want to know if you've ever had to deal with the poltergeist.
That's another one that, to me, it's very hard to determine. I would say yes.
Okay.
Do I know for sure? Because I have encountered a lot of different things, from just a noise here and there to I've seen things knock off the counters. I've seen things thrown. I've seen, that type of classification of a poltergeist. Mm-hmm. So I would say yes, but can I 100% tell you it's a poltergeist? I don't know, because we dealt with it the same way. We got rid of it the same way as we would any other, entity in the house. And, it seemed to stay away.
Okay.
So I've never encountered one that was so bad we couldn't get rid of, or something that was so big you knew 100% it had to be, more than a regular spirit.
Okay. Yeah, so, I like I said, for me, that was just my own personal interest. Oh, I got it.
Poltergeists are interesting things because of the movie and stuff. Everybody thinks that it can be this crazy thing coming through your TVs, coming out of the closets, and ectoplasm all over the place.
Right.
But I've never experienced that kind of level of something, but I have seen things, knock over, fall over, things thrown across the room, weird smells, everything you can imagine, except those extreme those extreme things you see on TV.
Well, Patricia's asking, I had a demonic experience which I would like to talk about on Tom's show. She's actually with me later. Later on, she's actually coming on 21 February, so that's good, Patricia. But the demon that was in the room standing over me was not ugly. He was rather handsome and spoke to me with intense hate as I was being held down. I hear they are ugly, but not in this case. Why?
Well, it depends. I mean, they could really take on just about any form they want. There's the whole thing behind the succubus and the incubus.
Right.
And,
I was thinking of that too. Yep.
Exactly. They're more of like a sexual predator in a way,
Right.
and they're definitely not going to come in an ugly form sometimes.
Right.
They're
Right.
kind of trying to seduce you. But honestly, in my education on it, in my experience, they could kind of take form any way they want. A lot of times they are just like a shape or like a mist or like a cloud, but they can take a form like that. And if you were, in a like a sleep paralysis state, I don't know if you were in something like that, or you were in between like the twilight stage or something. It could have been manifesting your dream,
Okay.
and appearing to you in a different form that would appease you.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the first thing I thought of when I read it was the succubus incubus thing.
Yeah,
Because that's how they're always portrayed in some way or another is
exactly.
to be beautiful or handsome. Um, oh, she said she was wide awake.
Wide awake. Well, yeah. I mean, you could still be awake, but if were you laying down, going to sleep, or were you just sitting in a chair? Or curious
I guess
because
we're gonna find out more on my show on 20. Come back 21 February, find out the answer.
oh, there we go. Oh, you're going to talk about it on there. Yeah, yeah. I'll wait. I'll pop in and ask questions.
No, I'll let her post up. I don't. She's gonna talk about it, so that's great.
But
Um,
it's one of those things where when you ask people about sleep paralysis and twilight and all that kind of stuff. No, okay, yeah, that's different.
yeah,
But they still, again, they can take on any kind of form they want. They're kind of playing. They're kind of a demon, like I said, is oppressing you. They're mentally, so they're playing on everything. So they could take that form and try to make themselves look attractive to you. Because if they're trying to seduce you or trying to take over, they don't want to come at you ugly, I guess.
right, right. So we do have what's a key indicator of a demon versus an angry spirit? When one is angry in life, my assumption is they continue that in spirit.
Well, yeah, that's a tough one. There's a lot of that. Like, was this person, bad beforehand, and did he, when he got stuck here, is he still as grumpy as he was before? You don't really know. I mean, most of those spirits, I don't think they're angry and grumpy. I think they're more trying to get your attention. Even if they pick up the glass and throw it at you, I think they may be saying, "Hey, what are you doing in my house?"
Right.
But the difference with a demon is that a demon isn't gonna react to your sage and your Palo Santo and your get out of my house and your little things that they usually only respond to religious provocation. So I don't ever say provoke, because
Right.
provoke is very bad in the house. But if you're in the point of where you think it can be demonic and you know what you're doing and you know how to protect yourself, you can provoke a little bit by pulling out a cross or pulling out some holy water and asking them to tell you who they are, because as a demon they cannot deny it when you're coming at them with religion,
Hmm.
because that's what they're against. So there's some things that people do that actually call out in the house. They'll throw holy water into each corner of the house, and then they'll call it out and tell it to tell me your name. And it's again, it's been known in the education I had on it, it's been known that they will come forth and tell you who they are because they can't not tell you.
Okay.
They're different than a spirit, because a spirit was a person at one time, where a demon isn't. It was a fallen
Right.
angel, you know
Right.
and their intent is only to harm you or have you harm somebody else. So they won't. A lot of people, like, another difference you could tell between that is, how long has this been going on? If you have somebody who said, I've been dealing with this thing for 3 years, it's not a demon, because a demon isn't going to hang around there for 3 years and
Right.
just wait for you to, like, okay, one day he'll get to the point where I could take him over. No.
Right. Yeah. No, they'll take care of that a little quicker than that.
Right. They're either going to take care of it quick or they're going to leave.
Yeah, they're not trying to date you. So.
Yeah, they're not. They don't have the patience, really. They know if they can't get through to you and they can't take over, they're gonna leave. Because there's no point.
Find someone else who they can.
Yeah,
So.
exactly.
So comment agreed. We never provoke, but we had one occasion to smell of sulfur. Not 100% it was a demon. But
It's
I do know they ended up leaving the location, or at least left that area. So
yeah. I mean, if you're in a situation, anybody, and you're not sure that there may be a chance it could be demonic, and you don't know what to do with that, get out immediately and get somebody to help you on it. Because if you do provoke it a little bit, or you do, okay, you go and you listen to what I just said and you call it out, and it comes out, now what do you do?
right,
So it's definitely better to be safe than to try to figure that kind of thing out yourself. You
right,
know, it's not worth it. It's just like I tell people when we go into a home and we're doing a residential investigation. A lot of people believe this. The first thing that they ask us a lot when they're talking to us: "Are you going to come into the house with 7 people and stay here for 5 hours?" And no, I very rarely do that. I have done it plenty of times, but I very rarely do it because to me, there's no point in stirring it up and trying to find out exactly what it is, unless if it's somebody or somebody that specifically wants to know who it is and what it is and why they're there. It's up to you whether you want to do that. But to go and spend 5 hours overnight with 3 people and all that equipment, it takes 2 months to review the evidence.
right.
And then at the end of the evidence, you might not find out who it was. And then guess what? You're going to do the same thing you would have done that day.
Yeah,
And cleanse the house.
And there's a lot of people that just want you to come in and make it go away. They don't care about who or what it was. It's just disturbing them, and they're like, "Go away."
Why do you want to know? Because also, if you know who it is and you start acknowledging it, it's going to hang around.
Yeah.
So if we cleanse it and we get it out, and now they know exactly who it was. Okay, it was Uncle Tom, and all of a sudden we leave, and then they start thinking in their head and trying to kind of, oh, well, it was Tom. Maybe we could talk to Uncle Tom. And next thing you know, is back in the house.
Right.
It's like a case I dealt with in was it in Boca? The girl that did this astral projection and something followed her out and it was in the house. And, she was trying to contact an ex-boyfriend who was murdered and all this. And when we were sitting with her, she allows me to use her image in my presentations.
Okay.
And it's a great little clip because it shows the raw emotion of a person. I mean, she breaks down and she's pretty upset by this whole thing. And when she asks, can it come back? She believed it was a demon. I tried to explain to her it wasn't, but she goes, I don't want it to come back. Is there a chance it could come back? And I said, well, if you go looking for it again, and as soon as I said that, as soon as I say it, you see her go. Like she, because she was already ready to start going in the minute I walked out the door, and I did go back there like 3 times, but now it's very good. She's been real good for over a year now, and but that's the thing. Some people have to understand, you can call it back very easy. There's no point to have it in the house,
right?
Even if it's not bothering you.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, some people just want it gone. They just don't.
Right. And that's what I tell them. I mean, I've been to houses where, the kids, are interested, maybe they're at their age, they're like 13, 14, and they're, oh, the Ghostbusters are over the house,
Right.
They're not so scared. They actually think it's pretty cool. And then, I had one little girl asking us constantly, why don't you want to find out who it is? Don't you want to investigate? And I'm like, eh. And the father's like, no, we don't need to know. We don't want to know.
Yeah. I mean, like we know, in my house, we know we have 1 or 2, but we know they're loved ones that pop in and out to just kind of look at us, look after us and make sure we're okay and stuff like that.
Right.
Because that's something I can do is I can actually hear and talk with them. So,
right.
So I know that every once in a while they pop in and out and just to check on us. And we had an instance in our house where we put a new fan in, and it's a humidifier fan that will only come on when the humidity is up.
Right.
And the only way to get that to turn off is you actually got to turn the fan off and on really quick to get it changed settings.
Right.
And we would come home and it kept being changed. And my wife kind of called it out and was like, stop screwing with us. And then we came to realize afterwards when we talked to someone else that it was her grandma. So we had to apologize. It was just a grandma saying hi. So we had to apologize for that. And say, oh, go ahead, let us know you're here. So
you can stay here. It's all good.
Right. So sometimes it's a little different, but yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is something you've ever dealt with or not.
Sure.
Has it ever been a time when you've gone in, and I don't know what your background is on this, I'm just loving to open up this can of worms. Have you ever gone in and someone had told you that it is alien?
Yes. I mean, not. I've had calls for aliens.
Okay.
Straight up calls for aliens, not thinking that they're possessed. They see them outside. And look, I will go if you're around, and I'll go check it out. I'm not. I have some education in it. I am not a full-on ufologist that knows
Right.
everything about it. But I will definitely go see what's going on, and because sometimes they can be confused. It may not be an alien, but I've had some people in the home say that when I told them I don't believe there's anything paranormal, they're like, "Well, can it be, extraterrestrial?"
Right.
And I don't think so for their specific case. I've never had anybody like straight out argue with me that they think it's, this and there's aliens and running around their house. I have had calls where I can tell you, I remember I used to write down, years ago when they would call, I'd get out a pen and paper and start writing down everything. I
Right.
got this one that I got like 15 pages of this guy's alien abduction, and it was up in New York, and I would love to have really gone in and check it out because it was really interesting. And if it was real, it was something,
Right.
There's a few that I had when I first started my team down here, before I actually got a bunch of the people on my team. I went to I wish this would have turned out to be something. It was just a lot of back and forth where I couldn't get there and they couldn't get there, and then everybody kind of fell out of it. But it was one person contacted me and said that they had, they believed they had a ghost in the house.
Okay.
And they were in like a townhome. And then they told me that after talking to them, that they talked to neighbors, and they have about 9 neighbors that all have the same experiences. And I was like, wow, I need to come over. I went over there and I sat there with all the families and listened to the stories. And it was like, I listened to them where they, sometimes sometimes you will get people who are looking for attention.
Right.
And I mean, I've had people contact us in the middle of the night and trying to get us over there. And you could tell there's like a party going on in there. They're trying to get the ghost hunters to come over and run around their house with equipment,
Right.
You
Right.
can tell the difference. But this was interesting because I mean, I was listening to them say they saw this shadow go through the house, and it went out the door and it went to their neighbor, and then they were very friendly. They called the neighbor and said, "Hey," and the neighbor immediately said there was just a black shadow in the house, and
Right.
yeah. And then there was one lady who was an older lady that they were saying she was attacked and pushed down the stairs, and they believe it was all coming from her place. And then there was just a lot of back and forth of how we could get there. Can I get in there? And at the time, I didn't have a lot of people with me, and it just all, I don't know what happened. It kind of stopped. And then some of them didn't want me there anymore, didn't want somebody to come in. And it kind of just, but it was one of those that was really interesting because if it was like all these places at one time, I've never seen that, in my
Right.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of taking over the neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah. But never straight on like arguing with me like, well, it's an alien.
Right.
They'll say that first, and and I'll tell them, look, we could come and take a look, but Sage is not going to chase out ET out of the house.
No. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was wondering. How do you deal with that when you're like, well, I can come out there and check it out, but I don't know how to get rid of it.
I'd feel safer in the house with a demon than an alien come running at me, because I don't know what the hell you do with that.
Right.
I'm not quite sure what you do at that point. No way.
Right. Like, I'm not quite sure how to handle this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yep. That cold's kicking my butt again.
So,
all right. So
yeah,
I want to throw this back up again because it's been a few minutes. I told people I give them time to write stuff down again. So talking to Bill Slevin. Here's all his information in case you didn't get all of it last time. Maybe people should screenshot or something else if you don't want to write it all down. Use tools that you have handy with you.
Sure. Yeah. Really, contact us anytime for anything. We're always available. Somebody will always get right back to you. Sometimes we do get very busy, and it may take a little bit, but we usually will get an initial contact right out to you and tell you, hey, we'll get to you very quickly and just talk to you and see what's going on, and hopefully we could help. If not, we have a lot of teams that we do work with around here and in other places, and that's why I want to build this, network together.
Yeah, like us.
And see, yeah. Because I want more cases like this. I want to be able to push them out to everybody and say, hey,
and that's really cool. So
yeah. And anybody that needs help, I mean, if you're a team, don't ever hesitate, or even a person learning, don't hesitate to, reach out to me and ask me questions. I'm always available. I'll give you advice. I'll give you as much as I know. Hey, look, people helped me when I didn't know anything. Right. And that's how I got to where I am with it. Yeah. So I have no problem helping everybody. And I want to mention one thing about what I was talking about with these paranormal groups on Facebook, because there may be some people listening, because I shared this all in there, and a lot of them know me. Some of them like me, some of them hate me, because I debunk all their stuff. Right. Because I am very honest with everybody. I don't care who you are, what it is. I'm going to tell you honestly. I'm not there to hurt your feelings. I'm usually very nice about it. I'm not going to just give you comfort of something and give you, bad or false advice, because it's not good, but a lot of these people in these groups have to learn that, me and other professionals in there are here to help them. And when we take the time out to come into these groups, we're very busy too. We take the time to come out in these groups and tell them, okay, that is unfortunately dust. And it's not 400 spirit orbs flying to your house. And again, I explain why. I don't say it like that. I tell them why, what it's caused by, how it's caused. And, they should try to get a little educated on it and understand, so that when they do find something real, they know more, and they could come on there and, I encourage them, post whatever you want, but, accept the thing. Because the minute I get on there, then I'm told I don't know what I'm talking about. One guy told me, obviously you've never been on an investigation before. Well, but what can you do? They assume that it's only paranormal, and we all want to catch something. We all want to have evidence. It's cool. It's fun.
That's the goal. Yeah.
And for me, the more people out there that capture real evidence, and we can prove that it's real evidence, it helps further the industry. The industry suffers a lot because it's hard to get people to understand and, to believe some of the stuff you're saying.
Yeah. Jem's good point. I can't believe orbs are still so heavily debated.
If you want, I will gladly invite you into all of these groups. I'm in about 45 of them, and you will see them every 5 minutes. And it's like, some of them are just so unbelievable, and I don't know, I try nicely, and some of them just won't take the advice. That's fine. You all have fun. It's all about having fun and doing what you want. But Jim,
I was going to open up that can of worms, but I didn't. I know that we don't have another 2 hours to debate orbs, so I wasn't going to go in that direction. But it's weird how people ask your opinion, but don't want your opinion.
Yeah.
They want your validation.
That's all it is. I literally had one guy that tagged me into his post because he knows me on there and he's seen me as a professional explain things. So he tagged me in his post, and I responded and debunked his photo or video. I don't remember what it was. And again, I explained what it was and why it was. And then he started arguing with me, and he told me, I tagged you because you were an expert in the field. But after you debunked my photo, I realized you are not an expert and you don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert because I don't blindly follow you. Got it.
What can what can you say to that? I'm actually very nice now. I go in there and I laugh it off. But at first, a while back, I used to kind of argue with people back and forth a lot. And I used to argue back and forth with people a lot. And one of my teammates, Allison, she would always, she's in a lot of the groups, she would start texting me, stop arguing with that guy. I couldn't help it sometimes, but I try to stay, professional with them, and I am there to help them. You know what I mean? So they take my advice, okay. And but I'll tell you honestly, in those groups, The only reason I keep doing it is because I get a lot of people that contact me on the side off of the groups, and they are looking for help, including the
Right.
guy that I passed on to you.
Right.
He
Perfect.
and I'm gonna tell this, since, like I said, we can't talk about his case or anything like that.
Right.
But I'll tell you this. Here's an example of why I'm looking for the right people and why these groups are really confusing people at times. Because I go in and I say, okay, it's dust, and here's why it's dust, or whatever. And then somebody comes in and, oh my God, that's definitely an orb. It's an old guy, and he's got a hat and a beard, and he's protecting you. It's crazy, and they give these people false hope and false, thing. They don't know some of it scares them,
Right.
but here's an example. When this guy contacted me outside of the group, and needed help, the one that Tom is going to work with too, he was telling me what some of the people were telling him to do because he contacted other people first that were supposed to be professional. One guy told him to download all the ghost apps and start using all the ghost apps to capture anything he can in his house to give to them so they could see what it is. I explained to him, I said, block that person.
Right.
Because all the ghost apps are, they're fun if you're out on maybe a public investigation, but they're not real evidence.
Right. Right.
Your phone doesn't have the technology to do what those apps are telling it to do, And then one person told them, read the Bible. Okay, and that's going to be more of a religious person that's just going to say, in other words, they're saying pray and help, and it could help.
Yeah.
But somebody actually told this person to take the Lord's Prayer and pray over a glass of water to turn it into holy water to bless your house. I don't even know what to say.
You're all priests.
I would just bless my faucet and then it just out all day long. I don't know what and the problem is, if somebody doesn't know it better, they start doing this stuff and thinking it's helping. And let's say it was a demon, or it was something negative and bad. You start throwing tap water at it, which you think is holy water, reciting religious prayers. This is going to end very badly.
Right.
Yeah,
I saw that message too. So
yeah, I am located.
This is Dom's mom.
Yes,
and I call her mom. So hi, mom. But she's asking where you're located at, Bill.
I am in Coral Springs, Florida, down by Fort Lauderdale. But we cover, we'll go all over Florida. I have people that are down by me all the way up to Jupiter. Some of my teammates. So we go up and down, and we'll go anywhere we can.
Yeah.
As long as it's not too far. I mean, if we have the time off, we'll go.
Yeah, that's excuse me. That's kind of how it is with us. We try to go not necessarily residentials, but just investigations once a month. Our team does, but it really depends on out of work areas, where I'm being sent to and everything else, and if I can make the trips.
Right. It's tough, oh, okay. Yeah, that's not too far. A little bit, but it's not too far. But I would go more often, again, because we can't charge, and we don't charge and wouldn't charge.
Right.
We don't have the luxury all the time of going. Everybody has a full-time job.
Yep.
And we try to schedule in as much as we can. And even with my job, I'm even though I'm there, 8:30 to 5 every day, I'm still kind of 24/7 with them, because if something happens, I have to be able to contact.
Still got to be able to go back in.
Yeah. So we do what we can to help people. We try to accommodate on weekends. I was at a residential last night, in Hollywood. And we try to do the best we can. Sometimes we do lose touch with people, like there's so many people contacting us at once. And, we always try to get back in touch with people and apologize and try to get them help if we can't help them. That's why, like, when they fail, we have an investigation request form on my team site. Yep. And it's also it's the same one on the Paranormal Research Network. Again, it's a long form because it's there for a reason. One, it's better we get as much information up front as possible so we know what we're dealing with when we contact you for the first time. But also, we know if you fill out that form, you're serious. because anybody joking around with us or playing around or whatever it is not going to take the time to fill out that form. I know I wouldn't.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's the same thing with team members.
I've seen that form. That's some work.
Yeah.
So
You know what? They don't realize that it's touchy. It is tough sometimes. I mean, some people will leave a lot of stuff out, and then once they talk to us, they feel more comfortable,
yeah.
and then they'll divulge more information because we do. They don't understand sometimes at first that an investigator, will get very personal with you. They're going to want to know your mental history, any medications you're on for anything. We need to know that stuff to help us determine what's going on because it doesn't help us if you don't tell us.
Yes.
It's like if you're sick and you go to the doctor and you don't want to tell them that you were doing drugs, you know what I mean? You're not helping yourself because they don't know how to treat you correctly.
Right. Yeah. And and I know we're not talking about the case we're doing, but
right.
Just real simple. That person did give me a lot more information once I reached out to that person after I already read with the form, and there was a lot more that came out. I want to get this on really quick because Patricia's jumping off. She said, I need to jump off. Great show, and thank you, Bill. Looking forward to February 21st. Yep, me too, Patricia. Thank you very much. Still a lot of experience. Just cannot type that fast. But I wanted to put her on there so you know that she was on here. Said thank you very much.
Yes, I'll come check that out too.
Oh yeah, great. But yeah, I mean that's the big thing too. Is the personal experience does happen. It did open up a lot more.
Right.
Once I called the person and started talking. So
yeah,
even though the form is lengthy, there was still more to the story. So
right, and that's my point from what I was saying at the beginning. If you go in and you treat these people with the absolute respect and care that they're looking for, they are going to open up to you and feel comfortable and respect you back and tell you everything.
Right.
If you come in and you make them nervous or they don't trust you or they're not going to tell you anything and you're never going to get anything solved because
if you just don't, I mean, if you just go in closed-minded already from what you read and you're like, no, it's just this,
right.
You don't give that person the benefit of the doubt or the opportunity,
right.
And it's going to hurt you as well. So, and it's going to hurt them.
Right.
So you have a chance to help that person, and you're probably taking away that chance because you're closed-minded yourself and you're not willing to go out and help.
Right. Never. I tell everybody, never, ever go into a place thinking, and again, we're talking about residential only.
Right. Right.
No matter what the people tell you, never go in there thinking it's haunted or thinking it's nothing. Always go in with an open mind on both sides of it, or else, you're already leading yourself to one side of things.
Right.
Unless you get something that is, I mean, sometimes you can't help it because something is just so blatantly obvious that, you kind of formed an opinion on it. But you really, when you go in, you got to try not to do that. And, it's one of the things I do when I don't bring on a ton of people onto my team. I do bring people on from time to time when we're looking for somebody, but I'm very picky with my team. My team are an amazing group of people, really. Every one of them is valuable in their own way, and they help out so much. And the thing is, when I met every one of them, it wasn't about, oh, do you have 30 years experience like me? Have you investigated, hundreds of homes? Have you? I don't care. I don't care if they've never been on an investigation.
Right.
It's more about their personality, their passion for this, and their care for people, because I'm going to bring them in to sit with somebody that you can ruin their life or you can help them.
Right.
I can teach them how to investigate. I can teach you how to use equipment. I can teach you what to look for, but it's about that personality. I've met people before that have had as much experience as me, some that have more, and they have no idea how to work with a person.
Right.
And mainly, and not saying that that's bad. It's just maybe they did more public investigations because it's different.
Right.
So that's what it comes down to. It's like finding the right people to work. It's kind of how I'm looking at the teams for the Paranormal Research Network.
Right.
Same type of thing. To go in with care and just help the people. They all need help. There's always something that they're dealing with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm gonna put this up one last time. We're a little over time, but for some reason I'm the one who's always over time when I do my show. I don't care.
I could go on for hours with you. You know how it is.
Well, I know I'm going to have you back on another time, so
Sure.
that's easy enough.
I would like to get the whole team on one time.
Oh yeah, that would be fantastic. I'd love that. Just make sure you do that with me, not with Taryn first, because I want to be able to brag that I'm the one who got it.
Yes.
So, sorry, Taryn. But again, Bill Slevin, there's all his information. I want to thank you very much for being on the show tonight. It was fantastic. Hopefully, we're on the right path, and you're on the right path to helping even more people than you already are. For everything you already do, I want to say thank you from everybody. And go out there, check out all the information, check out the site, go check him out at Villicon this weekend. Make sure you go out there and crash his party, because he's, I guess, doing two different days, as he was talking about.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions, reach out, make those contacts through Facebook, through his team site, through Paranormal Research Network, wherever you want to go to. You can always reach him somewhere out there. Like you said, they're really good about getting back with you. Even if you're, as he said before, if you're part of a team, part of whatever, and you're just wanting guidance, go ask the questions.
Right.
So that's what he's there for. That's what all of us are here for. So
contact me, no matter if you're a team member, if you're just looking for advice on something, if you need help, it doesn't matter. Contact me. And thank you for having me on, Tom. You know,
it was great. It was great. I mentioned him. I mentioned this to him in private, but I love his office. It's just really cool to see all that up on the walls and everything else. So we're gonna.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. He mentioned earlier that he has no idea where he's going to be able to put anything else once he gets something else to go on the walls. So we're going to see what happens there.
And tell her I'm going to invite you into all those groups. Jim.
All right, Jim, you heard him. You're going to get invited into all those groups because you want to know about the orbs. That's on you. So, all right. Well, I appreciate it very much, Bill. I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of give an update on what's going on next week.
All right.
I hope you have a great evening, and I know I'll be talking to you soon, and I will also be talking to you about the case I'm working.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again, Tom.
Yep. Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. So that was Bill Slevin. Just a quick mention again, stuff I never learned from the school book, BB3 TV, Monday nights, 7 p.m. Central. That's when I'm on. Feel free to come out and check it out. Again, Dimensional Encounters is where I'm also a team member of, facebook.com/Dimensional Encounters. If you have any questions for me or anything else, feel free to send messages. If you are watching this recorded, I always type it up in my notes, but if you're watching this recorded and you have questions, please send me the questions and I will do my best to get them on the air. I don't have a problem with that at all. Next week, I do have Dom and Tom, so we're getting back to the originals. The creators of the BB3 TV network. They're going to be on my show. God knows how that's going to go. We're going to have three hosts on at the same time, so we're just going to probably overstep each other with all the questions we're going to ask. But it'll be a lot of fun. Come out. We'll talk paranormal. We'll talk whatever we want to talk about, because that's how we roll. Much love. Be sure to tune in, share, like. I always want you to enjoy the show. So have a great night, and thanks a lot, folks. See you next week.